Welcome back to the She Shine Show. We are delighted to be joined by the one, the only Taylor Tieman, attorney and founder of one of our most favorite things on the planet, Legal Miga. Taylor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I love you guys.
We've been fans since like back in the day. So any chance we get to chat with you, we're just so excited. So, let's go ahead, jump on in. Can you walk us through your background and kind of what made you take the leap into law, let alone entrepreneurship, kind of that evolution for you that you've experienced?
Yeah, I've kind of wanted to be an attorney my whole life. And I think that's because my mom told me that I was good at arguing when I was younger. So I kind of like ran with that. But I really love writing and like persuasive writing. So that kind of steered me into law to begin with. But I actually had no idea that I was going to own a business, nor did I plan to ever own a business at all, ever. Like I was the person that was like, I do not want to have my own law firm. I want to work for somebody else. Too scary. I don't want to run a business. But after like almost 4 years working for law firms and not really liking the area of law that I was working in, I just was like, all right, I got to do something else. And I kind of did some projects for my friend at the time, and it just aligned perfectly with what I was looking to kind of change things up with. And now I'm here and I have a law firm, and it's terrifying, but like the best life move I've ever made.
But also so amazing. Like
truly,
like Laura said, we love you. We know we've like referred you to so many people, and I think that's sometimes how it happens, right? Like we don't plan on being an entrepreneur or plan on owning your own business, but you kind of find yourselves in these situations where, oh, maybe there's more out there, where there's something different, where my talents are better served. And here you are. So tell us the mission of Legal Miga and the clients that you serve.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys are like experts at probably wording this better, and I'm terrible at this. But I think my goal is just to make legal more accessible and approachable, especially since like that first client that I had started off with somebody that was just like clearly at a point where I, as a lawyer, was like, whoa, you haven't talked to a lawyer yet. Like that scared me. And then I realized there's a lot of people that just don't talk to lawyers because they don't want to, or they're too expensive, or we have a certain reputation. And I just kind of wanted to bring like my, I guess, approach to law and like explaining and education around it to business owners that really needed it. Because there's a lot of us out there that I don't know what I'm doing with respect to like accounting, like marketing, branding, like we're all doing so many different things. And kind of bringing that to people that hopefully need it and want to learn about it. Because I think it's kind of like a not super closed off industry, but it seems that way a lot of the time.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, we had no idea how to approach anything legally other than LegalZoom, and like, talking to a lawyer has that like, oh my gosh, we had to talk to a lawyer. And then we met you. Look at that. We're like, yes, talk to Taylor.
Talk all day, hang out over coffee. No, you've just done such an amazing job of creating this beautiful community of support. I mean, that's really what you do day in, day out, is support other businesses through, protecting them legally. And it's just so beautiful what you've created. And we're excited to dive into really the meat of this conversation, which is how to protect yourself and your business. So for those of you watching, we're really pumped to dive in. But if you have any other questions, we're already going to go ahead and encourage you to check out Taylor on Instagram, hit her up, DM her. She's just such a wealth of knowledge. So let's go ahead, dive on in. All right. So we teach our clients over here at She Shines how to design the perfect offer to attract their dream clients, right? So we would love to know from your perspective, can you tell us a few of the top legal precautions or legal documents that you would need in order to protect yourself, or for us to protect ourselves and our clients?
Yeah, my usual go-to top 3 are, first, exploring whether or not you want to have an actual business entity, meaning do you want to separate your personal assets and liability from your business? There's reasons to do that. There's reasons not to do that, really dependent on what you're doing, what your life situation is, like what your assets are. But just asking yourself the question, should I be separated legally from my business? In most cases, yes, we want to be. But in some situations, it's just not a good situation for some people. So asking yourself that question first, and then also looking at what you need to have in writing. There's a million different contracts that we can have all of the time, but really looking at your core relationships of, who you're working with, one-on-one clients or business partners or collaborations, or anytime you're partnering with some individual or company that's not you as the business, really thinking about, do you need something in writing? Probably let's put it in writing and protect what it is that, whatever that relationship is and what you guys are sharing. And then also making sure that we're looking at our intellectual property and kind of understanding generally what it is. I know that's like a broad term, but usually intellectual property we're looking at are things we're creating and those items that we can protect that we have made. That includes trademark, that's like business names, logos, slogans, copyrighted material, which is like actual creations and tangible items and things like whether we are an artist or like a blogger, things we're actually creating to see, can we prevent theft from other people, intellectual property theft? And then moving forward, how do we really capitalize on those assets to value, things in our business that IP has value, like monetary value can be assigned to it. So really capitalizing on that if we are working with those things and are leveraging them properly in our business. So probably those top three, and they like branch out from there, but looking at those are probably most important.
Those are great.
Yeah.
And we have definitely been burned by the contract one, getting everything in writing. And I think when you're new to the entrepreneurship world, and maybe you're like Anna Laura and myself, and you trust people at their word and oh, they're so nice. We've had such great conversations and we get along, and only to find out it doesn't matter. So
or people tend, they leave room for human error too. People sometimes forget what they say. And so just having it in writing, whether or not you're covered by like a verbal agreement or whatever, just go on ahead and write that baby down.
Yes. And we have your contract template and your template shop to thank. So definitely make sure you check out Taylor's contract and all her template shops, because she makes it so easy to get all the legal documents you need when you don't know anything about legal documents. Like, hi, it's us. But now we feel supported and protected. So thanks, Taylor.
Yes.
And speaking of legal protection, right, that is your jam. You help other brands protect themselves. Many of our clients, right, we serve multi-passionate women. So many of our clients are working full-time while growing their businesses, and their funds are going to school, they're going to loans, it's going to the car, it's going to daycare, right? And they can't always afford to hire legal help. So what tips do you have on seeking legal protection or advice with little to no budget?
Yeah. I think, ideally, if you can work with an attorney and have the funds to do so, like that's usually the best place to go. But I've been there. I know that I'm allocating budget to certain things and not to certain things, and we want to do it yourself sometimes. So I have a lot of clients that have come to me for like one-off projects, and they are working with companies like LegalZoom, or what's the other one, Legal Shield. There's a bunch of them. And I think those are completely fine and accessible and affordable. I think just really reading through what it is that they're going to offer you and making sure that, you're understanding this company's offering me this, and this is what I'm paying for versus this is what an attorney would be doing for me. At the very underlying part of it, non-attorneys cannot give you legal advice, and they're going to put that in their disclaimers all day. So just understanding what they're providing you, and talking to people that have used them before. And I've had clients that have loved working with LegalZoom, and they've saved so much money. And I've had other clients that had a bad time. It really is it's kind of just like real life. It could be hit or miss. But just at least trying to educate yourself and not be scared of it first. I think that's usually the main block for business owners is I mean, I did this with accounting. Like, I just don't even want to deal with it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to learn about it. So I was able to finally afford to just pay someone to handle it for me. But in the beginning, it's a lot of like reading, trying to figure it out. And that's usually the first step, I think, of getting over the hurdle of, instead of just ignoring the legal stuff, because that's when we get into trouble, is when we aren't at least aware of it. Because a lot of times, even if we're working with people that are maybe a little bit shady or might take advantage of us, like, our intuition is going to tell us a lot too. And that's going to tell you like, hey, I might need to put this in writing, or hey, I might need to do something. But just being open to, I think, learning about it. There's a lot of different, I mean, I know a lot of, aside from myself, a lot of attorneys that offer blog posts, like Instagram posts, like just little tidbits of info. And I've learned so much about business ownership just off of like Instagram too. Like, people, it is people's jobs to, like, I advertise based off of writing captions off of things that I know people want to learn about. So I think using those tools and those free resources strategically is helpful too.
For sure. And like we said, like, Taylor, you are such a wealth of knowledge on Instagram, just giving away so much advice. So go ahead, hit follow, hit the follow button, you watching or listening, whatever it is. So we're going to get into that in a minute, where we can connect with you. But before we do, we'd love to know if there's any other piece of advice, just number one piece of advice, be it legal or otherwise, that you have for business owners.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I probably would have answered this differently like a year ago. I think, I know it's easy to say, like, don't compare yourself to other people, but not falling into the trap of like, this person's business is making X amount of money and they're at 1 year or 2 years, because you really, I see this all the time with even my own clients, where like, I know what's happening behind the scenes, but they're portraying a totally different like person and company, like publicly. So while I think social media, Instagram, like blog posts are a great place to find information, be realistic about like what your goals are, because I know I put a lot of pressure on myself like year one to like immediately hit 6 figures, and that was very stressful, and I had a very stressful first year watching other people. But then you actually find out later on that like, that person came from a certain background, or they have actually been in business for 10 years. And like, you see these things, you're like, wow, I should have not put so much pressure on myself. But yeah, I think that's a kind of a trap that we can fall into, but it's really just us being overachievers at the same time and trying to do good.
You're so right about that. No, we can definitely relate to that whole like comparison trap. And you're right. You truly don't know what is going on behind the scenes, behind the curtains. So thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I love it. Such great advice, Taylor, as always.
As always.
And so tell everyone, I know everyone is like, I need to go follow her now. So where can we connect with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram all the time. My handle's Legalmiga, LEGALMIGA. And website's ttiemanlaw.com. My office is pretty virtual based, so I am like pretty tech forward with like, I don't even have a phone call line that people can call into. Like, it's all forms, emails, like very quick paced. I just think it's more, I feel like I'm able to be more accessible that way than a more traditional firm. But yeah, that's where I hang.
I love all of that. And all that is linked for y'all in the show notes as well for this. And we'd also love to know, is there anything that you're working on?
I mean, I'm in the middle of trying to make sure that I have an assistant lined up so that I can go get married.
Yay, congrats.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's gosh. Like, I feel like I was working super, super hard during lockdown and like all of that stuff. And I think I'm able to kind of take like a break and make sure that I have things systematically lined up so that I can actually step back, because that's also a key point of if you're in your business 24/7, like if you can't step back from it, that's stressful.
Yeah. Preaching to the choir, girl. Well, thank you for sharing everything with us. I mean, from learning about contracts, right, to protecting ourselves legally and how to do it affordably, right? And making law accessible for business owners out there. And best of luck with the wedding. And thanks again, Taylor. Everyone, please go and show Taylor some love and support. Thank you for watching this episode of the She Shines Show. Thank you for listening. And until the next time, keep shining.
Hey there, I'm Anna Laura.
And I'm Alex, and we are the founders of She Shines. So whether you are working full-time, you are a side business queen, full-time entrepreneur, or somewhere in between, we are here to support you.
Yes, and we love doing that through connection, community, and girl talk, usually with a glass of champagne in hand. And we would love to connect with you, whether it's through our She Shines Academy, through our podcast, through an event, or through our text fam. We would love to answer your questions and help support you any way that we can.
We hope to hear from you soon. Cheers, girlfriend.